What's going on, everybody? Jim McIntosh, Red Zone Sports. We got the first Showdown slate of the year, and boy, with the Travis Kelce news as of yesterday, this has now turned into an absolute just complete disaster. Really, what else are we gonna say? We get no Chris Jones likely for the Chiefs. We've got maybe Travis Kelce, maybe not. Not really sure. We'll have to wait and see and find out. But what we do know is that Patrick Mahomes is going to play. We are fairly certain of most of the people on the Detroit Lions that are going to play. So I think we're looking okay right now. We've got some really interesting guys and some really interesting pricing here in Showdown. As you guys know, I'm going to be focusing more on the DraftKings side of things because that is what I play typically for Showdown. Just like the format there, I like the full point PPR. But really, I mean, a lot of these plays can be crossed over to several different areas. So let's jump right into it. So starting at the very top, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, he's 12,200. I think that it's a little wild that Kelce, even being healthy, would only be $200 less than Mahomes, just because there's so many receiving options on this particular team. I definitely think that I like Patrick at value much more than Kelce on this Showdown slate, just because, if I'm choosing a high-end captain for the Chiefs, I know it's going to all funnel through Mahomes. I don't necessarily know that it's all going to funnel through Kelce, and I think that Kelce is a really big focal point to take away. Now, he could play hyperextended knee. Looks like initial tests are saying that he didn't tear his ACL, so it sounds like the ACL is intact. Really don't know, but for right now, obviously we have to just assume that he's going to play. He hasn't been ruled out or anything like that. We're doing this, Wednesday morning, but so obviously check back. Mahomes, I think he's going to be a fantastic captain. I think his captain ownership is not going to get anywhere near 42%, but we'll be interested to see. I'll do a quick little update as far as the ownership projections go once I get them, right? So these are the optimal results. I use Run the Sims. I really like Run the Sims because it's not anybody telling me anything. I can input whatever inputs I want to get. These are the standard inputs that I'm showing you guys now. I'm going to change them up a little bit so I can get my own custom lineups later. We don't want to have anybody out there grabbing my lineups. I would not like that. But really here, you can look at the captain rate. I mean, it just drops off a cliff. And there's some really, really good captains I like in here. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a really interesting option. At somewhere, the optimal rate is 5 to 6% only. I think it's going to be way higher than that. Come to ownership, I mean, maybe not. Sky Moore, I think, is a really interesting captain. He's only $4,800, so it's not going to cost you a ton of money. Kadarius Toney, these are the optimals, right? This is a projected ownership as of now. This will get sorted out a little bit more. A guy that I want to talk about, who I think is wildly mispriced, and it's just because it's week one. But that's going to be Justin Watson. Where is he in here? Where is he? He's going to be up here. Justin Watson. Okay, he's $200. I think you just have to lock him and play him because it sounds like he is going to be starting in 3 wide receiver sets. Like starting. They like Rashee Rice and they like Justin Ross, but I don't think that those guys are dependable enough starters as of yet. Watson's a really good run blocker, so when they do want to run screens and things like that, he'll be out there. But if I'm getting a guy at $200 that's going to be on the field, let's say 75% of the time, and running routes 70 to 80% of the time, that's a guy that I'm just going to lock across all of my lineups and just go from there. It's, to me, in my personal opinion, Justin Watson is a free square and someone that should be taken full advantage of. Another guy I think that will be overlooked quite a bit. Everyone is enamored with Jahmyr Gibbs. Fantastic talent. Took him in the first round. That's great. At $8,200 versus David Montgomery, who's going to be $6,600, I like Montgomery a heck of a lot more. Let's remember what happened with the Lions running back situation last year. Williams would come in the goal line and vulture all of the rushing touchdowns that were supposed to go to Swift, right? It's the same situation that's going to happen. Montgomery is going to get all of the goal line carries. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. So personally, when I'm going to go make my own inputs, I will be upping the total here in the pace and the points scored. I'm going to be upping the total. I think that the Lions are going to score somewhere around 28 points in this game. I do think the Chiefs are going to win this game, but I think it's going to be about like a 35-28, something like that. So let's go 34. Okay. Let's go 34. And I just want to do this as an exercise so I can show you guys how that changes our outcome. So you run the Sims again, and it's here we go, running. I think it's be a high scoring game. Week 1, I know the Lions defense, it's really what they like to talk about. So that didn't change our ownership around a little bit, but not a ton. But okay, now we're getting as we're on here, right? We're getting updated leverage rates. So it does look like that Patrick Mahomes, see, I told you, you're still going to get a 1% leverage in the captain spot. Jared Goff, another fantastic captain. But anyway, let's get back to Montgomery. I think Montgomery is a fantastic play. There's not a lot of leverage to be had on this particular slate, and that's kind of interesting, right? But I think Montgomery I like Gibbs. I think that, we were just talking on the text thread with Vinny and Joey this morning that if you guys want to run like a Montgomery Gibbs in the same lineup, I think that's kind of sneaky. And I actually think if you're going to do a full-on Lion stack, I would prioritize having Goff, St. Brown, Gibbs, and Montgomery in the same lineup. And you can do that, by the way, because of playing guys like Justin Watson. So I'm going to plug this in and see if we can actually get to that real quick. So let's see here. Gibbs, Montgomery, and then Watson for 200. That leaves you $10,300 for your last player. So look, you can, and that's with running Amon-Ra St. Brown in the captain spot. So look, you can do some really interesting stuff. Doesn't allow you to get to Mahomes, but if you switch it around and go Montgomery in the captain spot, and then you want to play St. Brown, you're $100 short of Mahomes. Man, if you can figure out a way to make that work, really interesting stuff. You could not run Goff and then run Mahomes, and then you could get another Chiefs player if you wanted to do it that way. But a lot of really cool options on the build tonight. I think you have to prioritize Mahomes, St. Brown as the captains from either team. I think Goff is a really sneaky captain play. I really like Sky Moore a lot. I think he's way mispriced. I think we're going to see that too, and especially on a site like DraftKings where it's full PPR. 4,800 is a great price for a guy like that. If we're going kicker tonight, I like kickers. I think Butker is obviously going to be your guy. But, you could go Riley Patterson. It doesn't really matter. Marvin Jones, I think, is a good play tonight. 6,200, a little bit expensive, so I don't think a ton of people are going to play him at that price. Sam Laporta, I think, could be a sneaky play as well at tight end. That could be a really sneaky captain play, in my opinion, because I think he's a guy that down in the red zone, he has a chance. He's a rookie. We don't know what his usage is going to be, right? So, there's not a lot of film out there of him actually pass blocking effectively. Like, there's just a lot of unknowns about Laporta. He's a great athlete, and I think that if you want to prioritize putting him in, I would run him at the captain spot. Oh, excuse me, coffee hasn't kicked in. I would run him at the captain spot. I think that's a really, really unique lineup that you can get, especially like a bigger room, where you can still get Mahomes and St. Brown. And then, like I said, guys, if you're struggling, just put Justin Watson in there, because then it just opens everything up. So, like, I've got a lineup here with Laporta at captain, Mahomes, Justin Watson, St. Brown, Gibbs. I mean, you could literally just get to whoever you want to, right? If you didn't want to play Gibbs there, you could play Tony. Don't be afraid, again, as we're back into the showdown swing of things, don't be afraid to leave some money on the table. It's okay. So, like, don't be afraid. Like, if you want to play Tony instead of Gibbs, like, there's a lineup that I'm looking at right now that I'm leaving $3,500 on the table. Like, I don't care, right? You could, swap out Watson and go to somebody else, right? Like, if Kelsey doesn't play, you can pop Noah Gray in there if you want to. I mean, there's just a lot of options on the night. But look, you can leave $3,000 to $4,000 on the table and still have a successful lineup, and it's going to be very unique as well. So if we look at some of the custom lineups that the generator spits out to us, so these are the top 50 most frequent, most optimal lineups. Okay, as you can see, none of them are maxed out at salary, right? So we put that rule in there. We don't want any max salary. But look, Amon-Ra, I mean, look, it's Patrick Mahomes. I like these Pacheco lineups. I don't know. Khalif Raymond is an interesting one that I personally hadn't looked at a whole lot. I would prefer to run something at the bottom right here with like McKinnon, Pacheco, Watson, and Mahomes in Amon-Ra at the captain. I think that's a pretty good looking lineup. There's some good Jahmyr Gibbs, MVS, Watson. Again, I'm telling you guys, Watson is going to be the guy who's going to unlock everything. It's going to be a good situation. I really like this balanced lineup right here. There's another good one with Goff as a captain with only 2 Chiefs players. Mahomes at captain with MVS and McKinnon. That's a nice little balanced lineup. I think balance can get it done tonight. This is a really interesting lineup as far as being unique, because with the Chiefs onslaught, you wouldn't normally think that the one run back would be a running back. But again, if he gets all the goal line work, even if the Lions only score, let's say they don't score 4 touchdowns, let's say they score 3 touchdowns and Montgomery gets 2 of them, he's going to be the Lion that you're going to want to have. So you have to prioritize that. So that's why, I don't typically build off of optimals, but I like to look at them just to see what kind of differentiator. Look how few look at the salary it's being used, right? Pretty low overall total ownership as well. That's a nice, predicted dupes. That means there's only going to be predicted about 3 of the same lineups in a maximum contest, as to where this Mahomes one right here is going to be, 44 predicted dupes. That's a lot of dupes, right? So this is a nice new feature this year for the predicted dupes for Run the Sims. I think they make a fantastic simulator product. And I think that just being able to parse this out, I'm not building 150 lineups, but I like to see what the lineups that come up with. Like, here's a nice Butker lineup. I really like this for a Chiefs onslaught with Gibbs in there. Really interesting. I think it's got a lot of pretty high upside as well. So again, the guys who I'm going to prioritize in my captain spot is going to be Mahomes, St. Brown, my guys that are going to be kind of like my sleeper captain. I think Sky Moore for the Chiefs is kind of like my sneaky captain guy. I don't see a lot of that popping up in the simulator, and I kind of like that quite a bit. And I think my sneaky captain play for the Lions is going to be David Montgomery. Hope you guys have a great night tomorrow. I'm going to post some ownership updates as we go here, but I'm pumped for week 1. Good luck, everybody.